Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are picking up this video. This is the third chapter being read today from the wonderful book, The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible. But if you've been following the previous chapters, I like to start the session with a little bit of music or something that I just exploring with. And I've got a wonderful instrument here today. It's more than an instrument. It's like amazing. I don't know if you've ever seen this. It's called a hang drum. It's more like a UFO. And it's a friend of mine. It's called Monica's, who's an amazing woman who's allowed me to look after it while she goes away. And I've played it maybe, I don't know, not enough since she's been gone. Maybe 10 times, maybe a few more times than that. So I'm by no means a professional, but what I love about some of the instruments that I find, like the ones you might have seen on the previous shows, you can just play them, go with the flow, whatever comes up, you know. Often we get told that we're not musicians or we can't play music because we compare ourselves to so many amazing people out there, and then we don't bother attempting ourselves. Whereas me, I always just go with the flow, try things you've never tried before. So I'm just going to play a little bit of this before we begin, and I'm going to read you the wonderful, wonderful chapter 3. It's an amazing chapter, which I think you're going to love. And I hope you've loved the two previous chapters. Yeah, let's rock and roll. Awesome. Wow, I love this instrument so much. You just go with the flow. It takes you away anyway. The music comes wherever it comes, whatever it sounds like is amazing. Wow. Think about the amazing people that created this. Wow. There it is. You got to hear it. If you only heard it here for the first time, then please go and search Hang Drum, and there's just Hang Massive, and there's so many amazing people, musicians out there playing this instrument. And I play it at if I do a dance event, or I do meditations at my workshops or anything like that, I always normally, more often than not, incorporate the Hang Drum. Got my glasses on today because it's quite cold here in Malta, but also it's colder in the houses than it is outside. It's been a bit stormy lately. Okay, so just a quick heads up for anybody this is the first video you've come to. Please, there's chapters before. I'm going to read the whole book throughout 2015 and really bringing these chapters alive. I asked a friend of mine to order this book recently, and she ordered it. And she said she couldn't really get into it. It wasn't really jumping out at her. And then I said to her, well, do you want to, maybe if you listen to it read to you, you might enjoy it more. And she was like, yeah, that sounds amazing. And by listening to it, she was able to, maybe digest it a little bit more, or be more interested in the book. Not everybody's going to like the book. You don't have to like the book. I think the book is a very powerful book to read at this time in evolution, where we are in humanity, with this whole talk of the new world that our hearts want to birth, with this big transition that we're in, where so much is collapsing, so much is falling apart, we're losing our identity on so many levels. Then it's really important that we connect with like-minded people, and we read literature by like-minded people, and we connect into the energy, into sometimes what seems like maybe a faraway dream, or what's not really happening when you look out of your window and you go out into the world and interact with friends, family, and other people. You think, wow, where is this new world? But actually, it's birthing within each and every one of us. Also, one thing before I begin, I also got a message from somebody saying, you know, like it was, I don't know, I took the sense that it was shocked maybe that why would I be reading a book? Why would I be doing that? So I'm just like every one of you. I've had my own beautiful story of life. I'm here. I see life as a gift. I'm exploring and allowing gratitude to flow through me every day. And for me, once you experience a deep sense of self-love, a deep sense of love for your gift of life, a deep sense of love for the magnitude of what we're a part of, you can't do anything but really share. It's really what happens. You just want to share. You want to share it. You want to open your arms and share love. Give love, share gratitude, spread love, spread gratitude, support others to see that they're a magnificent gift of love, you know, it's a gift of life, gift of love. That's it, really. It's nothing more. It's just, that's it. So I'm reading this book because I think it's a beautiful book. I love what Charles is doing. I've spoken to him a couple of times on the sofa. He's a wonderful man. He's a wonderful gift that he's brought to the world. And so I'm sharing it with you guys. That's it in a nutshell. So let's dive into this beautiful third chapter because it's an amazing chapter. I love this chapter. It's called Interbeing. Interbeing. I'm not sure that I exist. Actually, I am all the writers that I have read, all the people that I have met, all the women that I have loved, all the cities I have visited. And there's a quote that begins the chapter by Georges Louis Borges. I may have said that completely wrong because my pronunciation of names sometimes is not the greatest. So let's dive in. Make yourself comfortable. Make sure you've got a nice relaxed place. Maybe even close your eyes and enjoy this chapter. A recognition of alliance is growing among people in diverse arenas of activism, whether political, social, or spiritual. The holistic acupuncturist and the sea turtle rescuer may not be able to explain the feeling. We are serving the same thing, but they are. Both are in service to an emerging story of the people that is defining mythology of a new kind of civilization. I will call it the story of interbeing, the age of reunion, the ecological age, the world of the gift. It offers an entirely different set of answers to the defining questions of life. Here are some of the principles of the new story. That my being partakes of your being and that of all beings. This goes beyond interdependency. Our very existence is relational. That, therefore, what we do to another, we do to ourselves. That each of us has a unique and necessary gift to give to the world. That the purpose of life is to express our gifts. That every act is significant and has an effect on the cosmos. That we are fundamentally inseparable from each other, from all beings, and from the universe. That every person we encounter and every experience we have mirrors something in ourselves. That humanity is meant to join fully the tribe of all life on earth, offering our uniquely human gifts towards the well-being and development of the whole. That purpose, consciousness, and intelligence are innate properties of matter and the universe. Much of this book will flesh out the story of interbeing. The more we share with each other this kind of knowledge, the stronger we are in it, the less alone. There you go. Another good reason why I'm sharing this knowledge. It needn't depend on the denial of science, because science is undergoing parallel paradigm shifts. It needn't endure the denial of livelihood, because from a trust in the gift, we find unexpected sources of sustenance. It needn't withstand rejection by everyone around us, because more and more people are living from the new story, each in his or her own way, inducing a growing feeling of camaraderie. Nor is it a turning away from the world that is still mired in separation, because from the new story, we access new and powerful ways to effect change. The fundamental precept of the new story is that we are inseparate from the universe, and our being partakes in the being of everyone and everything else. Why should we believe this? Okay, let's start with the obvious, shall we? This interbeing is something we can feel. Why does it hurt when we hear of another person coming to harm? Why, when we read of mass die-offs of the coral reefs and see their bleached skeletons, do we feel like we've sustained a blow? It is because it is literally happening to ourselves, our extended selves. The separate self wonders, how could this affect me? The pain is irrational, to be explained away, perhaps, as the misfiring of some genetically coded empathy circuit meant to protect those who share our DNA. But why does it extend so easily to strangers, even to other species? Why do we desire so strongly to serve the good of all? Why, when we achieve a maximum of personal security and comfort, are we still dissatisfied? Certainly, as a little introspection will reveal, our desire to help is not coming from a rational calculation that this injustice or that ecological disaster will somehow, someday threaten our personal well-being. The pain is more direct, more visceral than that. The reason it hurts is it is literally happening to ourselves. The science of separation offers another explanation of what it calls altruistic behavior. Maybe it's a kind of a mating display which demonstrates one phenotypic quality or prospective mates, i.e., example, it shows that one is so fit that he can afford to squander resources on others. But this explanation takes as an unexamined premise another assumption of the worldview of separation, a scarcity of mating opportunities and a competition for mates. As anthropology reviewed in books like Sex at Dawn has discovered, though, this view of primitive life is more a projection of our own social experience into the past than it is an accurate description of hunter-gatherer life, which was communal. A more sophisticated explanation draws on game theoretic calculations of the relative advantages of being a strong reciprocator or weak reciprocator, etc. In situations of mutual dependency, such theories are actually a step closer to an evolutionary biology of interbeing, as they break down the idea that self-interest can ever exist independently of the interest of others. The desire to serve something transcending the separate self and the pain we feel from the suffering of others are two sides of the same coin. Both bespeak our interbeingness. The emerging science that seeks to explain them, whether it invokes mirror neurons, horizontal gene transfer, group evolution, morphic fields, or something further out, doesn't explain them away, but merely illustrates a general principle of connection, or, dare I say it, oneness. A lot to take in there, but listen to it again. I've read that numerous times. It's just really breaking down how we are interconnected on all levels. And you can explore further, of course. The science is beginning to confirm what we have intuitively known all along. We are greater than what we have been told. We are not just a skin encapsulated ego, a soul encased in flesh. We are each other, and we are the world. Wow. Just absorb that for a few moments. Our society runs in large part on the denial of that truth. Only by interposing ideological and systematic blinders between ourselves and the victims of industrial civilization can we bear to carry on. Few of us would personally rob a hungry 3-year-old of his last crust or abduct his mother at gunpoint to work in a textile factory. But simply through our consumption habits and our participation in the economy, we do the equivalent every day. And everything that is happening to the world is happening to ourselves. Distanced from the dying forests, the destitute workers, the hungry children, we do not know the source of our pain. But make no mistake, just because we don't know the source doesn't mean we don't feel the pain. One who commits a direct act of violence will, if and when she realizes what she has done, feel remorse. A word that literally means biting back. Even to witness such an act is painful. But most of us cannot feel remorse for, say, the ecological harm that the mining of rare earth minerals for our cell phones does in Brazil. The pain from that, and from the invisible violence of the machine of industrial civilization, is more diffuse. It pervades our lives so completely that we barely know what it's like to feel good. Occasionally we get a brief respite from it, maybe by grace or through drugs or being in love. And we believe in those moments that this is what it's supposed to feel like to be alive. Rarely, though, do we stay there for very long, immersed as we are in a sea of pain. Our situation is much like that of a little girl who was taken by her mother to visit the chiropractor friend of mine. Her mother said, "I think something is wrong with my daughter. She's very quiet little girl and always well behaved, but never once have I heard her laugh. In fact, she rarely even smiles." My friend, the chiropractor, examined her and discovered a spinal misalignment that she judged would give the girl a terrific headache all the time. Fortunately, it was one of those misalignments that a chiropractor could click back and easily and permanently fix the problem. She made the adjustment and the girl instantly broke into a big laugh. Can you imagine that? The first laugh she's ever had. The first her mother had ever heard. Wow. The omnipresent pain in her head, so that pain in her head, that headache, which she had come to accept as normal, was miraculously gone. Wow, I can just imagine. I'm just feeling that release right now. Many of you might doubt that we live in a sea of pain. I feel pretty good right now myself, but I also carry a memory of a far more profound state of well-being, connectedness, and intensity of awareness that felt at the time like my birthright. Which state is normal? Question mark. Could it be that we are bravely making the best of things? Could it be that we are bravely making the best of things amongst that sea of pain? I've highlighted this next part, so this is one part that I love and have used a few times. How much of our dysfunctional, consumptive behavior is simply a futile attempt to run away from a pain that is in fact everywhere. Running from one purchase to another, one addictive fix to the next, a new car, a new cause, a new spiritual idea, a new self-help book, a bigger number in the bank account, the next news story. We gain each time a brief respite from feeling pain. The next like button on Facebook or social media or view on YouTube. The dopamine hit. The wound at its source never vanishes. In the absence of distraction, those moments of what we call boredom, we can feel its discomfort. We can feel that pain. Of course, any behavior that alleviates pain without healing its source can become addictive. We should hesitate. I love this part as well, key point, because I've cast blame many times. We should therefore hesitate to cast in judgment on anyone exhibiting addictive behavior, a category that probably includes nearly all of us. What we see as greed or weakness might merely be fumbling attempts to meet a need when the true object of that need is unavailable. In that case, the usual prescriptions for more discipline, self-control, or responsibility are counterproductive. Notice whether, this is a great as well, this is a question for you guys to ponder. You listen to this. Notice whether, when I described people running from one purchase to another, you felt any contempt or smugness. That too is a kind of separation. The transition we are entering is a transition to a story in which contempt and smugness no longer have a home. It is a story in which we cannot see ourselves as better than any other human being. It is a story in which we no longer use fear of self-contempt to drive our ethics. And we will inhabit this story not as aspiration to an ideal or virtuous non-judgment, forgiveness, etc., but in sober recognition of the truth of non-separation. Love that. So he speaks now of another book that he wrote previously. In Sacred Economics, which you haven't read as well, it's a book worth reading. You can grab that online. I haven't read that book fully. In Sacred Economics, I made the point that what we perceive as good might be an attempt to expand the separate self in compensation for the lost connections that compose the self of interbeing. Excuse me, I'm going to read that again. In Sacred Economics, I made the point that what we perceive as greed might be an attempt to expand the separate self in a compensation for the lost connections that compose the self of interbeing. That the objects of our selfish desires are but substitutes for what we really want. Advertisers play on this all the time, selling sports cars as a substitute for freedom, junk food and soda as a substitute for excitement, brands as a substitute for social identity, and pretty much everything as a substitute for sex, itself a proxy for the intimacy that is so lacking in modern life. We might also see sports hero worship as a substitute for the expression of one's own greatness, amusement parks as a substitute for the transcending of boundaries, pornography as a substitute for self-love, and overeating as a substitute for connection or the feeling of being present. What we really need is nearly unavailable in the lives that society offers us. Oh, that paragraph, I will put that up with this video. That paragraph, every time I read it, just blows me away. Just how we're just so substituting everything for the pain and the denial and the separation, and that we seek is really all here right now. Anyway, sorry, carry on. Okay, you see, even the behaviors that seem to exemplify selfishness may also be interpreted as our striving to regain our interbeingness. Another non-scientific indication of our true nature is visible in yet another apparent manifestation of greed, the endless pursuit of wealth and power. What are we to make of the fact that for many of the very rich, no amount of money is enough, nor can any amount of power satisfy the ambitious? Perhaps what is happening is that the desire to serve the common good is being channeled towards a substitute. And of course, no amount of the substitute can equal the authentic article. And of course, no amount of the substitute can equal the authentic article. Upon each of us, the wound of separation, the pain of the world lands in a different way. We seek our medicine according to the configuration of that wound. Oh, just again that, you know, ask yourself, what medicine are you seeking? We seek our medicine according to the configuration of that wound. To judge somebody, to judge somebody for doing that would be like to condemn a baby for crying. To condemn what we see as selfish, greedy, egoic, or evil behavior, and to seek to suppress it by force without addressing the underlying wound is futile. The pain will always find another expression. And herein lies a key realization of interbeing. It says, I would do as you do if I were you. We are one. I would do as you do if I were you. We are one. The new story of the people then is a story of interbeing, of reunion. In its personal expression, it proclaims our deep interdependency on other beings, not only for the sake of surviving, but also even to exist. It knows that my being is more for your being. In its collective expression, the new story says the same thing about humanity's role on Earth and relationship to the rest of nature. It is this story that unites us across so many areas of activism and healing. The more we act from it, the better able we are to create a world that reflects it. The more we act from separation, the more we helplessly create more of that too. Oh, I got tingles up the back of my head. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't know how many times I've read that chapter, but like Charles said, this chapter is really the essence of the whole book as well. How we can move into that space of interbeingness, interconnectedness, and how we see ourselves as being totally interconnected to all things. One example I always use when I'm sharing with people and what helped me is that if you think about it, are we all breathing in the same oxygen to keep us alive? When we see that we're interconnected to all the cycles of life and how everything is functioning together. Although I did hear recently one thing that it said if the humans wiped out, then the planet would still do fine and all the ecosystems would be fine. And there would be no problem. But I'm not blaming the humans. I'm seeing that we are interconnected. I see how our bodies, if you just look at our body, how everything works in its beautiful way. The internal organs, the skin, the hair, the flesh, the cells, everything is just constantly working in a miraculous way, which we don't even know about. You don't even know how your heart's beating, and it's beating and giving us life. And what a gift. We made it through the cells, the sperm cells, and made it into the egg and made, was birthed through as this magnificent being. We are magnificent beyond measure. And it's not some esoteric spiritual concept. This is the evolution. If you haven't watched a video called The Noosphere, Ian McKenzie, a wonderful man that makes a lot of the videos for Charles Eisenstein, also sat with me on the sofa, on the virtual sofa recently. Listen to that man speak as well. He's doing magical work, creating beautiful videos. Ian McKenzie. I'll put the link to his website underneath this video as well. Yeah, listen to the Noosphere. It's one of the best TED Talks I've seen. So you can see what's happening on a cellular global scale of how the planet itself as an organism is also moving into collaboration and interbeingness and so on. We're just part of, you know, we're the fragment of the whole. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this wonderful chapter. Please subscribe, share. I've got 102 conversations that I've been speaking with magical people from all walks of life. My mission is just to stop lying to ourselves and start loving ourselves, because when we start to love ourselves and come here first, acknowledge here first, you know, think global, act local, come home here first, connect here, transform here, and then go out into the world as that beingness, as that healing balm, as that cell of love. That's really the message. And have fun at doing it. It's a beautiful mission. It's a great purpose. It's something that is helping all of the suffering out in the world. And when we see it, we go, oh, you know, by doing this work and it's sharing this love and spreading this new story of how we can all come together and write new stories and create new psychology, new communities. Wow, it's going off. It's happening. Look into permaculture, look into the transition towns that are arising, look into the transition labs that are arising, look at the retreats that are happening, look how people are coming together. Man, I'm getting buzzed up here. I hope you love this chapter. I hope you're loving me reading to you. If you're not, that doesn't matter. Buy the book yourself, read it yourself, read this book to your friends, get people together, create a circle, a gathering, and read a chapter together and have a discussion on it. You know, that's one of the ideas that I had to do as well. I do sharing circles, and I was going to do a sharing circle of reading the book. I still probably will. It's coming up again. Maybe I'm supposed to. So you can see I'm buzzed up because from a morphogenetic perspective, and there's a chapter in here called Morphogenesis, which we come to soon. When we get there, if you're new to this book or new to all of this thinking and philosophy, when we get there, you'll realize that by you being here watching me and me reading this, we're sending out an energy from a morphogenesis perspective, and that's sending out ripples of the new story of love into the collective field. Wow, tingles on my head. Woo! So it's not so hot here, but we're rocking. I've got an apple. I've got love glasses, just in case we can't see the love too much. And we're reading. So thank you for taking the time in your precious gift of life to be here with me, because I know there's so much information out there in the world. And other than that, wherever you are in the world, I'm sending you love on this beautiful day. Never again are we going to get a day like this. Every day we're dying. Death feeds life. Death and life are not separate. We're just in that beautiful space of creation, expressing ourselves. So I hope you love the hung drum. Remember, go and look and listen, and take care. Take care. Into being. The rain is just falling. The rain has come to cleanse the land. Go outside. Run in the rain. Let life embrace you as you embrace life. Feel the elements. Play an instrument, even if you've never played one before. Celebrate your life. Phone up your parents, your loved ones, the person that you walk past in the street. Tell them you love them. Tell them you feel their pain. Tell them they're not alone. Woo! Spreading love is so simple. It's like blowing up a balloon. Go. enjoyed being here with you. I've enjoyed sharing this time with you. You might be somewhere else in the world, on your own right now, but we're together. You're not alone. You can't be alone. You can't be alone. Amazing. It makes me feel so warm. I don't even know if you can hear me. Maybe you can lip read. I love you. I love me. I love everything and everyone. Every single person that I've interacted with, connected with, experienced life with. I'm so grateful for every single interaction that I've ever had with every single beautiful being in life. Even in my times of darkness, challenge, separation. We're alive. Let's celebrate that. And the privileged of us. We are the privileged. And we have a responsibility. Share love. To spread love. To be love. To be that which we are. To be alive. Will you stop? Will you stop? No. Yeah. No. Yes, yes, no. Take care, everybody. Have a magnificent life. It's going off.